Oh, so you can't hear us?
Yeah. I thought we. Well, I had never
This
set
one's
these
not
up
going
before
great.
because the other meetings had always.
Yep. So you guys know these, you can turn these off and on. Oh, but is this for online or for here? Oh,
It goes into the Zoom thing.
it's both,
Because I put all the screenshots.
There's no speaker in here, it's just for Zoom.
but I hear it here.
Hello,
Okay, so
is this on? Test.
development.
Sorry, Aaron, you couldn't hear that. And you probably couldn't hear the beginning of the meeting anyway. That's all right.
They had told me the Zoom needed
All right.
the microphones.
Jeff, I have the.
You got it?
correction. We're
Oh,
all
great.
set.
Thank
So
you.
If there are any other corrections, I'm right in the file. and
Any
then-
objections to approving it with those two corrections? Great. Then those minutes are approved. Aaron, welcome to the committee.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we didn't have our mics. This is a
No.
new system for us here. We usually, it's the first time we haven't used the owl, so that's why we didn't know about these mics. We
No
can hear you.
problem, I'm
We can
doing
hear you.
childcare and listening, so I'm
That's
here.
excellent. Totally acceptable. Heidi was always there. She did the same thing. Thank you for joining and stepping up. It is so wonderful that we have continuity there at the farm. It's really, you guys are major players in Rockport. I consider you major players anyway.
Happy to be here, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so look forward to your participation. That's excellent. And any other prospects around? Anybody been thinking about it?
I believe that we're full in Rockport. I think we've got,
I think so, but you can go for an alternate, which is always a nice
well, I
thing to
think we
go.
do. I think maybe Amber is alternate and because
Well,
Aaron has moved into full-time.
okay.
So I think Rockport is filled up, but I
Alright.
don't know where Rockport is right now. Except Michael and myself.
Yeah, Margot said she'd be here. Kristen
Aaron, yeah.
and Aaron. Kristen cannot be. She's got honor society for her daughter.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, but Margot said she would be there. I don't know if you want to text her or remind her.
Well, she'll know.
Go ahead. And everybody else said okay too. So I don't know. Meeting date times, I kind of there were couple of things going on. One is this room was not available yesterday, which is why it wasn't last night.
They almost came.
Good. I'm glad that you didn't. And then next Wednesday, a couple of people could not come. I think it was Tom, you were one, was
To
awkward.
the
If we were
middle
gonna
school?
No, if we were gonna, that, anyway.
Oh,
Next weekend was more awkward for more people, so that's why I went this week. But my point is, for me, I have a conflict every Wednesday meeting, and Camden has been gracious enough to change their dates to Thursdays. So our monthly meeting is now Thursdays. Any objection to changing the quarterly meeting to Thursdays?
That's fine by me.
Thursdays are good for me, actually.
Think about that.
I usually have a
Yeah,
conflict
usually.
on Wednesdays too.
Thursdays.
I'd like to do that, and so I'm going to move forward with that if there are no objections. All right, that's the end of my stuff, general stuff. Does anybody else have any general announcements? Anything?
Yeah.
Or on to Rockport?
Well, I would love to announce, because I don't think it's on the agenda, that the bond, the trails bond passed at the state, 30 million, which we had, remember, Andrew had brought it to our attention last January, I believe.
And we signed on.
We signed on and the governor signed it April 22nd. So there's a big financial push across the state.
Is that it now? I thought it had to go for a referendum.
Financial push or financial backing?
Governor Janet Mills today signed into law bipartisan legislation that will place a 30 million, on the November ballot. Thank you.
It's like
Okay.
a land thing.
To
Yeah,
repair and enhance. So it'll be on the November ballot.
Yeah.
Good catch, Tom.
So
But anyhow,
actually,
there's movement.
the marketing needs to continue. Yeah. But I thought it made me feel good, made me feel proud that our name was on the list and they were publishing that too. So it's right where we need to be, advocating for that sort of stuff. Thank you, Linda. On to Rockport. First item you had, Linda, was striping and repainted roads.
So this actually comes into a practical application. We've talked about it a lot, and how possibly we could research and flesh out. In our last meeting, our last Rockport workshop, we had talked about this, and getting ideas on how to get striping and symbols, et cetera. What's the best way to mark a road to make it more amenable to pedestrians and bicyclists as well as vehicles? And now the most practical application is Main Street. And we talked about this, and I had also talked with the Public Works Director, Mike Young, about what can be done to calm traffic on Main Street now that, if any of you have driven along it, a number of trees have come down along the sides and the road is going to be rebuilt apparently. And it was scheduled for this spring, but I guess some of the equipment has broken down. So it's a big construction project that's gearing up, and I'm hoping that we can get something ahead of the game to suggest to the town, because I don't know what the town's going to do. But Mike said, go ahead and talk to John. And I'm glad that you're here to hear this as well, because Main Street is one of the thoroughfares for people coming in from Hope and Appleton to get to work, whether it's the hospital or the schools, or it's just an alternate route, as Park Street is and Meadow Street is going into Camden, alternate to Route 1.
Also for bicycles.
And also for bicyclists, and
Right,
also
all the
for
time.
mothers with strollers. And there's a lot of traffic on that road, and it's not just vehicles, but the vehicles tend already to come fast. So I was hoping that we could brainstorm a little bit this evening about where we could go to look for. And Orion, at our last meeting, we talked in Rockport about complete streets and how to move forward on that. But I think it's really important. We have to catch it at the front end in Rockport, and maybe it could be a model. I don't know, for these rural streets that have become busier and busier over time. So I'm open to any kinds of ideas that we can talk about this evening, if people have leads on where to go. And, in addition to complete streets at the DOT. And something that, of course, is going to be cost effective, because we know that Rockport's going to say, well, we don't have any money. Well,
Exactly.
okay, we don't have any money, but we do have the capacity to think about this and then to brainstorm how to move around the money issue.
Mhm.
An addendum to this is a citizen who lives at the other end of Main Street had contacted me, and that citizen was upset about the tree cutting, but also about the general climate of what was going on. And she crafted a letter, which residents signed on to, which I did as well, and submitted it to the town manager as well as the select board, saying, hey, Main Street needs a little bit more attention. Thank you very much. for opening it up, but we need to know more in advance. Please tell us, put up notices at the website or somewhere when you're getting ready. Just don't drop in like a paramilitary force and, start working on the street and not really let us know what's going on.
Like
And
they did
as
on-
well
like They
as,
did on Park Street.
yeah, exactly. And as well as let's talk about traffic calming. And so it's a concern, and I know some other citizens have, in the interim, have stepped up, and they're concerned about, not just the tree cutting, but the way the weather now is whipping across the golf course because the trees were cut and directly into their houses. So, yeah,
It really changed a lot.
it was pretty massive, and it's unfortunate.
Wait, when was the tree cutting?
Just a month ago, no, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Whereabouts?
I haven't been down yet.
Main Street is on Main
I know
Street
where Main Street is, but where on Main Street did they cut the tree?
from Symington Corner all the way to Route 1.
To
So-
widen it, in order to widen it?
No, Mike said it's not widening. It's not widening. It's already pretty wide.
Yeah.
But when you rebuild a road and then you don't do anything to it, people are going to come flying even more. So,
So you clear the trees so that they can fly more safely?
I think the trees were cleared because Mike had mentioned that it was icing up in the winter. And then Lucas Tree came along after at the behest of CMP and trimmed more and cut more. So, it's probably, and some residents were happy that some of the trees came down. It was, there was a lot of growth, and some weren't.
It
So,
would have to be signed really well.
well,
Same speed limit, new pavement.
Well, that's what I was wondering because that was one of the ideas. Was what I was wondering was Dave was talking, and where were we talking? Or I was listening maybe to the select board meeting. He was talking about the solar lights. And the chief got on, police chief Randy was talking about that as well. And this is in Camden, but how well they're working.
Solar crossing lights.
But also the slow down lights and the
blinking
neighbors-
ones,
The
the
speed
six,
limit
the
one
six,
or-
the
or
six
showing-
lights,
The
the
what?
6 speed lights. The
Yeah,
blinking ones that say this is your speed.
yeah,
Isn't
and
that what you're?
No, not the radar ones, just the.
I think that's what,
I think that's what I'm talking about. And the
It is.
neighborhoods really loved them,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to see them go. I don't know if they're the huge signs or whatever, but is that a possibility in Maine's culture, as opposed to trying to do fancy bump outs and granite curves, which obviously we'll never do. But trying something different. So,
I'm a big advocate for you are going the speed sign. They
Yeah.
work
A
for
lot of
me.
those are on a trailer, but if you go into Belgrade, they have
Yeah.
one going too fast
Yeah.
and it
There was
flashes.
one right in Rockland.
Yeah.
coming
yeah,
in,
the one coming in from the lake.
It's not the
Yeah.
one on a trailer. It's a
And I see
permanent.
that, I go
So-
2 miles over. and
Because your speed
yeah, it's kind of
is-
fun.
Yeah.
To gauge, to see if you can sync with the light. But is it, were they did he mention that they were like $3,000? I can't remember.
But speaking of the money, can we go back a tiny bit? You said there may not be money for this, but can the DOT provide, or this new trails bond issue if it passes
I don't know.
for like a bicycle trail, call it a trail?
Yeah, what I worry,
Um,
the trails, absolutely, that's, what we're doing. But I also worry about, well, what are we doing for the people? Because a lot of people walk and ride their bikes along that road. A lot of people live on that road. I mean, actually, the subdivision behind my house, Mystic, Steve Beveridge said at one point, that is the densest neighborhood in Rockport
I believe it.
because the houses up there. So it's,
There's a lot of people lived up there.
a lot of people live up there, and so they're out walking, moving around, and then you have Route 1, traffic zooming down to Route 1. So
It's really hard to cross over at that intersection.
it's really hard. Yeah.
Tom, did you have something?
I've always thought that that's just a fantastic road if you could get a decent bike lane. It always looked to me like it wasn't wide enough to do both. It drops off so much
It does drop off.
on the downhill side that I didn't think you'd ever be able to widen it, so
I ride it a lot. It's kind of okay, but
I ride
There's
a
a
lot.
lot of
Sightlines are
blind,
pretty good.
I ride it a
sight
lot,
lines are
too.
Terrible in parts.
it's got good
Just a little
sight
bit.
lines except for one.
Except for
hill.
one corner that goes up and
Yeah.
like that.
But what do you,
Anyway.
you know, from a bicycle, okay, so you guys bike it. So what would you suggest? Because
Well,
big ditches are going to come.
yeah, the big ditches are going to come, which is scary. But going back to I'm getting a little bit better about what you're talking about here and have been talking about, Linda. And what resonated with me was something that a part of the discussion that happened in January when Dakota was here
Mhm.
and Dave St. Laurent. And we got into this thing about there is no standard for training public works department people about what complete streets are. And you mentioned it, I know. But I don't think Mike Young has ever gone to a complete streets thing.
It's
And-
time.
And if the like, Dave's my role model. He's got complete streets in his brain. And so when he looks at a project, he tries to figure out what aspects of it can reasonably be incorporated. And that goes to the budget thing. And, we're not going to have all these fancy things, but what can we do? Can we put fog lines on with a little shoulder? Can we put sharrows on? What can we do? And it's all outlined in complete streets that says, this is what your goal is. And then you sort of cherry pick what you can afford to make it good, including traffic calming. It's all in there, the descriptions. And I think what I would suggest is that you get the select board to do it in Rockport, what Camden did, which was adopt the complete streets policy. And then someday when this training comes back, because MDOT doesn't do it anymore, but they talked about it, Dakota was writing furiously about that. It's one of his takeaways from the meeting was we need to do that. We need to come back and do those conferences about complete streets.
Well, he said that at the DOT, they were redoing the complete streets.
Right, they're redoing the policy, but
Yeah.
but Dave St. Laurent was saying, yeah, we used to get together and have these conferences and there'd be sessions on complete streets.
Well,
and
why don't we why doesn't the Camden Rockport Pathways Committee host a complete streets informational meeting to the public? Promote it and at our next, what is our next one, July?
Yeah, I don't know. But
July.
the target of that would be, I think, would be advocating to the select board.
Well, we're going to go before the select board in June.
Did you have that in the statement about that in the master plan in Rockport?
I put the complete streets in.
And then highlight it, say, that would be a great, say, hey, as part of this,
Yeah, but I think we need a learning session for the communities about what complete streets, what it is. I think we need an information, like we can say complete street, oh, it sounds great. Well, what are you talking about? And maybe that's Dakota.
Maybe just a poster or something? Is
it also
that
could be
simple?
BCM. BCM's all over it too.
Yeah. They could do it.
Sometimes,
Send
yeah.
someone over and
Yeah. I don't feel qualified and I could probably develop something, but those guys I know they've got it. But the other part of it, because this is a huge ramp up, is even if we educate the public, we also need a resource. So advocating with Dakota, and I'm happy to follow up with Dakota to find out whether he is making any movement on those, resurrecting the MDOT conferences.
That would be nice to hear. Yeah.
And because he needs to, and then and make sure we talk about complete streets too, among other agenda items.
more importantly, I believe, it's not just the public, it's the public works.
It's public works,
They have-
exactly. And that's
Public
what Dave and
works
Dakota
in
were
general.
talking about that, because if Dave St. Laurent didn't have that knowledge, I don't know what we could do other than just keep advocating for it, which is what we did prior to Dave. But then when he came in with the knowledge, it was so much better.
I realize that.
Yeah.
And transferring that over to Rockport is,
It's a worthy goal. We should do
it's a
it.
worthy goal, but it's also, I don't know how you work it into that town structure at this point. Like, we're gonna start working with a complete street. I guess it's a presentation to and Orion was interested, he said, does Rockport has Rockport got into the complete streets? I think the
Yeah.
select board's got to pay attention to it. And it's got the capacity now, but then the select board has to say to the town,
We would like to,
we want to
Pursue this.
start doing this. How are we going to do this? Public Works and, town office.
Imagine there's grants out there and funding for it here and there if you look for it. I mean,
I don't know.
for complete streets. I
for,
don't know.
for training and
For training, you
training
mean?
and stuff like
Or
that.
for-
No, just
executing.
for money, for executing. For,
I don't know.
I mean, Main Street in Rockport is plenty wide enough for bike lane, at least a 4-foot lane on either side. In general, that street's pretty big.
So
And
those
there's no
streets,
restrictions, there's no existing bridges, it's just from Route 1 to Simonton's Corner, it's all pretty straightforward.
so these roads, I could be totally off base, but it seems like these roads were, what do you call it, expanded or widened
Mm.
because we needed to get the fire trucks in Rockport. That's what that's what was always used to be said. Well, the subdivision road had to be because the fire trucks have to get in.
Code.
Okay.
It's a code, I think.
It's a code.
Yeah.
Granted, okay. But in that, you can still do creative things.
Mm,
The fire trucks can still get through,
Absolutely.
but we can still stripe or we
Yeah.
can mark or we
Yeah.
can somehow accommodate other ways of living than zooming cars where,
We only need this much more.
I have a
Side.
suggestion. Is anybody willing to go to research? And I don't know whether that's talking to Janice or Audra or Allison and ask what the process was that Camden went through to get to that complete streets adoption. Which could be the model. And then that could be and say, this is what Camden did. This is, you don't say that, but I mean, you say, here's the model. It was presented, I don't know if it's a proclamation or something, or it's an adoption.
yeah, I don't know how Camden adopted it. I don't know.
So that's
when
why I'm
they-
saying, does anybody
Find
want
out how.
to research
Dave
that?
may have done that before he came here.
No,
And then-
there's something else that happened. There's something else that happened formally by the select board.
Well, we can just
It would be in the
shoot them an
minutes.
email. Just shoot them an email and say, when did Camden adopt?
Yeah, but I don't
Street-
know. I think Allison is the only one that might have been on the board at that time.
But
Where is she?
it's still,
She's sick.
I think it still needs an education piece.
Hmm.
Why, what the heck is complete streets? And
So that the people are better able to embrace
so
the
that the
concept.
public who cares can understand a little bit better what it is. And so that's why I suggest maybe it's good that if Dakota, and he can just zoom in again
Yeah.
and just tell us,
Would that be zoom in at a select board meeting or?
no, no, the select boards are tied up with so much stuff. I would
know.
say that's the responsibility of the Pathways Committee holding a complete streets session. What is it?
Like
What
at
are we
the
doing?
library or something like that.
Yeah.
Public meeting, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be July where we meet in Rockport, right? We're going to be in,
Yes, theoretically, if you can
well,
get
there's
it.
two meeting rooms now. There's the library and the
Oh, that'd be
opera.
great. Then,
Opera House is open back
Can
up.
we get?
Mike, have you met in the
Rockport?
library?
Yeah, we've been meeting there since I've been here.
It's a great
Oh,
space.
then that's
downstairs in the
great.
library,
That's great.
Couldn't we get Department of Public Works in Rockport representative to show up and say, oh,
Mike,
that sounds cool.
that'd be
Only if he knew about it already, I would think.
Yeah, and
He's probably aware of it, but I don't know.
I don't
I don't
know.
know the guy.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
Maybe.
I think it's just has to work its way into the fabric a little
I hear you.
differently
I
than
hear
in
you.
Camden.
Yeah, yeah.
So if the public became aware of it, knowledgeable, they would help
Yeah.
advocate for it.
Yeah.
Well, what we
like-
can do is really encourage Mike or somebody, hopefully Mike, to
Well,
attend.
And
He has come before.
yeah, and it's not like creating more work.
No.
But I do think it would be really, and if they're doing the road in the summer, I mean, then we've lost our chance to wait for a complete streets.
Yeah,
I think we
that's-
might have-
that's
we
what I'm
might have
thinking.
lost it.
I mean,
So,
educating people about complete streets is a great idea, but that's a key road there, I think.
yeah,
Could be urgent, go straight to
Cycling
the
and
town,
walking
straight
and-
to the DPW.
That's
Public Works.
imminent. We need to deal with that.
so that's the thing. So then, does the citizenry request Rockport invest in some of those slow down signs?
You're a
I'm
citizen.
hoping so.
But that's
That's
those-
that's all
just a-
retro.
One
That's all
piece of it.
retro.
That's one
We can
piece
do
of
that
it.
anytime.
But that's just another, sort of like a ugly
Stopgap thing. Yeah,
stop. It's like
yeah.
Don't bring
it's
it up.
another indicator of how unhealthy we are. How can we make that street?
Now, I'm trying to remember, because I haven't been on that street probably more than 5 times since I've lived here. So I will go look at it again.
Yeah.
But
Plenty of room there. It's
I-
wide.
I think they were talking about this summer, it's just going to be putting the final coat on. Is that right?
No, they haven't done the
They're rebuilding.
bottom stuff yet.
That's Park Street. You're thinking
Oh,
of Main
Park
Street.
Street, okay.
Main Street
I,
runs.
yeah, I know where, but yeah.
Well, they said they were gonna look at Park Street and upgrade it.
Why don't you and I take a drive?
There's no
You want to
room
take
for
a
I made a
15-minute
note.
drive this weekend? And we'll just go up and down. And I'll show you, where,
Because, yeah,
and,
yeah, it was Park Street. They said
yeah,
'Cause I know
Park
they
Street
talked
is still
about
getting another
culverts
code,
and-
believe it or not.
I
And-
know, but
and
there's
pa-
still,
Yeah.
there's the bridges restricting it by the Ashwood School. And
Yeah,
they can't widen it any more than, but if they're giving it another coat, they said they would try to address it about a year ago when it all happened.
so
They
that's,
would try to address it for safer passage for cyclists. and
but what
pedestrians.
is the safer, that's what I'm wondering, like, what do we recommend?
Well, with a bike lane, I mean, as
Yeah.
little as
Just
36
stripe a
inches.
bike
or
lane would be a good start.
What's that?
24 inches with fog line.
On one side. Can you just sketch it out? Sketch it out. Seriously, sketch it out because in my mind, I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking, oh, what do you do? I know the fog lines, but 36 inches and then you have this much for the road and then you have
Yeah,
36
just
inches.
for,
40.
to give you a format,
20 feet.
Dave St. Laurent walked the entire length of Mechanic Street measuring the widths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that informed him how much he had to work with
Right.
on the fog line. And then 3 years before Mechanic Street was done, MDOT came out to walk it to see if we could make it even narrower with Sharrows by doing the Sharrow thing. And MDOT had to sort of go, because it's a numbered street,
Do
but
you
that's,
remember the widths?
Main Street's not numbered, right?
I think 10 is like the recommended width,
For
10
the
feet per lane.
per lane, it's something like
Route
that, but
1,
I think it was
that
10 or
stop and
11.
go is 10. One side is 10 and the other one's 15.
So it's sort of, you have to work backwards to see, and I know there are some sections of that Main Street that are narrow, much narrower, especially around the corners.
Where? Oh, on Main Street?
Yeah, further out towards Simonton.
The houses are all set way back.
Yeah, they
which is
are,
good.
but
I think it's
he
pretty
said,
wide.
he said, or Linda said that they're not changing the footprint. They're just
That's what Mike said. It's not.
same
suppo-
footprint. They're not making it wider.
Right, but they're going to tear up the old pavement, and so it's
They're
no
gonna
big deal to
rebuild it,
make it
yeah.
wider. They had Park Street. I saw it before they paved it.
Mhm.
It looked like they're putting in a highway because it's really wide, but
It went
they
really small.
They stuck to the old.
They stuck to,
pavement
and that's
width.
what's going to happen here.
There was room to actually go another 18 to 24 inches.
Oh, I see what you're
Because
saying.
they ground up, took out all the old pavement and redid the whole thing.
I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
And so there was room, except at that bridge, there's a couple bridges there, but you're just a tight spot, but that's typical. But there was room to add another 24 inches. And then take some more of that for the fog lines, so maybe
Well, I don't know how
30
much,
inches wide, which,
and money's going to
Safer,
come up.
right.
Money,
right.
right?
I mean, it's better than nothing. It's probably not a legal or complete street's width for a cycle lane, but it works. It's better than dirt and nothing, so.
My take is that it's going to be hard to get something done in the project, the current project, because it's already spec'd out and already in the budget.
Well, that's what
and
we
all
said
that.
about Park Street, and that's what's frustrating, I
Well,
mean,
so that's why
when-
this other thing, Well, if they've already ordered it and they're gonna build it this
They just
spring.
started.
They haven't started dismantling it, so I don't know. Do you know
I
where
do
they
not
stand?
know. I do not.
Yeah.
But the
So-
town report said.
You talking about Main
possibly-
Street now?
Possibly
Main Street,
happening this
Rockport.
summer.
This summer, yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah,
definitive.
it's target, yeah, right. It's probably gonna come down to the pocketbook again. I mean, we have the trees down. I mean, that's just what drives me crazy. It's like, oh, okay, let's go in and dismantle, create chaos, and then, well, we're not gonna do it for a year or two, it's like, come on.
Well, time is, couldn't somebody just go to the Department of Public Works and say, "Look, what are you gonna do?"
Well, I did,
Oh, you did?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm looking for advice on next, what concrete suggestions
Oh, okay.
to make to the
We
town.
can get those from Complete Streets and we can get them from,
So I think we have the long range,
Suggest
sort of a
that.
long range strategy to help in future projects, but I don't think it's gonna be timely enough to help with this project. So the question is, and Linda, huh?
I
For-
don't say that.
If in July, well, we can keep going with it, but
Well,
I think, I agree with you, Linda, that we need a short-term strategy for Main Street, not just the outreach. We do the outreach,
Forget that.
and it will
for
help.
now.
but outreach in July is not going to help.
oh, no, I know that.
Yeah.
Um,
So we also need another strategy for short-term, if there is one, and I hear that's what you're asking for.
I'm asking for modeling and because I think it's going to be up to the Rockport contingent to say to the town next month, May 13th, in 2 weeks, here are some ideas. Here's are some concrete ideas. What can we do and how can we maneuver it forward?
That could be brought up at the beginning of the meeting in the public time.
Well, this is the workshop of the Rockport Pathways Committee
Oh, okay.
and Orion attends that.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah,
It
so,
was Orion who said they were going to go back and fix Park Street and try to put in fog lines and add a little more pavement.
Oh, retro it?
Hmm?
That'd be amazing.
so.
What he said a year ago.
So I'll look in the DOT's Complete Streets site and maybe I'll just call Dakota and say, hey, what could we do? I mean, so if anybody has ideas, this agenda item has taken a long time. If anybody has ideas, let me know.
Okay.
I think
So
the
I can
best thing
move it
is
forward.
a fog line and make it as wide as you can.
Well, fog lines are on there, I get, yeah, but,
No, I don't mean a fog line. I mean a shoulder fog line.
oh, shoulder
So
fog
make the
line.
shoulder as wide as possible behind that. And the way to know that is, Mike Young should know that because he'll know the width of the road and he'll know what his goal is for the lanes.
Mhm.
And then if he says 12-foot lanes are my goal, then we can push back on that with the suggestion with what rural lane minimums are and aim for the rural Maine,
Rural lane minimum.
rural road minimum
In Maine,
lane.
in Main Lane.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, rural lane minimum,
Rural. lane.
which I think
Okay,
is around 10 feet.
okay.
I think it's right around there, and which might open up a foot or 2 feet for a shoulder.
But
And
I'm.
even if he can't hold it at 2 feet, if it has to vary a little bit, make that the goal, or 3 feet. 3 feet is great.
But I think this is also, taking a stance. Citizens are taking a stance. Okay, if we're going to start rebuilding these roads, let's talk about how they're going to
Yeah,
be, what the end product is going to be.
that's right.
Okay, all right, very
I
good.
think that's, and in the meantime, I can feel that Andrew wants to get out there with a string, and
Be there tomorrow.
I could tell. We can knock that off in a
I don't
couple
need a
hours.
string. I just pace it off.
Yeah.
That would be a way to do it. So,
So other stuff in Rockport, is that what you're going
Yes.
through your list?
yes,
Can you just jog my
Route
memory?
90.
So Route 90 is, that's coming up. There was a meeting, or is there a meeting? They're coming back, Sewell is coming back with the revised recommendation, well, incorporating suggestions into the final study recommendations for Route 90 this month, and May, I think. And so then that will be a plan.
Is that the sort of the Route 90 plus?
That's the Route 90 pathways, and, Yeah, no, it's
And
great.
plus
And the
Dan-
VPI.
I'm sorry, could you start that so I can make sense of what I'm introducing here?
Well, Michael may know more specifically, but I believe Sewell,
Sewell's the
Sewell?
contractor.
the
He's
contractor for the
Study.
Doing the improvement.
Engineering-
VPI
Engineering
in
contractor.
Rockport, which is the
Planning.
bridge, incorporating the
Planning.
bridge rebuild,
Yeah,
Pascal
Engineering.
Ave,
that's right.
West Street, and then Route 90 out to the high school.
Yeah.
And
So
as
it's-
part of this whole rebuild study and ultimate recommendations to the town of Rockport, there's a pathway for Route 90
there is.
with an esplanade.
And
And it's
upgrades
beautiful.
to the pedestrian bicycle infrastructure on Pascal
Pascal,
and
yeah.
all the way through downtown,
Up to
Park.
Union Street, I think.
up to Union.
Union, and they were suggesting
Pathway
possibly go.
I thought it was a little further.
Street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go a little
Yeah,
further.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go
that was,
around.
they
It
weren't
was-
tasked with doing
No,
that, but they did.
but they got input on it.
Yeah.
So it looks great.
It was
Bridge?
excellent. It was so good.
Not going to have a new bridge, but it's going to be a rebuilt bridge, and we'll have maybe one lane,
And-
one bike lane, I can't remember.
Yeah, but a sidewalk on
Oh.
each side, right?
It's a sidewalk on each
Well,
side.
that
I
was
don't
my
know. I
understanding.
think
On one
she
side
said,
now.
Because they said they could widen.
I think she said it may not, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't want to put words into her mouth.
Anyway, if you have a chance to watch that presentation, and you can kind of go through it fast because they're working from a PowerPoint that shows what they're recommending. You don't have to listen to all the discussion, but it was great. Aaron, were you there? Oh, is Aaron still there? Aaron, weren't you at that meeting
I'm here. Yep.
when Sewell did their presentation?
Yeah. I was there for part of it. My coworker Emily was there as well. So,
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, we're excited about the pathway 90 by Erickson Fields and pushing for a crosswalk at Cross Street too, which I know is more of a DOT question really than anything else. So we're looking into that because having access from the schools over to Erickson will be huge for us.
And Aaron, I don't want to derail it, but the high school was trying to get a crossover at their level too. That doesn't help the elementary school too much, but Margot was trying to get MDOT to agree to that.
But at that
Yes.
meeting, at that Sewell meeting, when was it, in February, I did bring that up, and she wrote it down. So-
Right. That
so-
was awesome, Linda.
Yeah,
I
so
remember, I was like, oh, yes, Linda, that was great.
Yeah, so it's in their minds, whether or not they incorporated it, we don't know, but having a cross. There's Aaron. Oh.
He's there.
He's
He's
in
there.
the corner down there.
He's in the corner. He's here. He's here.
Having a crosswalk at Cross Street would be outstanding.
It would be.
It would really calm traffic down there as well.
Are you staying, Aaron, are you sort of staying on that, keeping an eye on that opportunity?
Yes, I don't know how as far as incorporating it into the Sewell plan, I haven't been in touch with them. I don't know, is there a good contact there that I could put a plug for it to be incorporated? I mean, I've been in touch with Orion about it a little bit, and his response is that it's really a DOT question. He'd be happy to put it in, but it's
It's
state
DOT.
only.
It is DOT.
So Orion, I have the woman's email. Why don't I send it? Why am I talking behind me?
I know, because he's up there. He's really not there, Linda, but
The screen.
it's fun watching you talk in the mic and trying to look over your shoulder.
There's a picture of
Erin,
him
I'm
there.
going to dig up her email and send it to you. You can shoot her an email. How about that?
The Sewell representative,
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
woman who's in
plan. Yeah.
charge.
when are they pulling that final report together again?
I think they're meeting, well, I was just looking at the town calendar. I'll tell you in a sec. I'll look it up. But I believe they're meeting this week with the VPI committee. But, well, bear with me. Let me see.
You look there, Linda, and I'm going to ask another question for the group. When did
Oh,
co-
it was yesterday. Sorry. They met yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, has that ship sailed, do you think, to give input or?
Yesterday,
Worth,
it looked like the VPI task force met yesterday to talk about the study prepared by Sewell. So why don't you just go rogue? I'll send you her email and just like start
Sure.
putting it in.
And-
Yeah, I'll just say that, we've talked with the Pathways Committee and the town manager.
Yeah.
Recommend this crosswalk, and we're gonna be in touch with DOT to see if we can make it happen.
Actually, Aaron, that was really well phrased, because I was gonna ask the group, does anybody remember whether that issue, I thought it came up when Dakota was here, about the idea? I know, Linda, you had mentioned at the high school, but did we talk about whether it was possible to put a crosswalk at Cross?
Did,
Anybody remember that? This would be in January.
no.
And I want to kind of circle back to Dakota and ask the question again. The question would be, Route 90 has, I think it's 45 out there, but I think it's 45.
Part of it.
Yeah. But it has the school blinking lights
Mm.
when the schools are coming and going, which is 20. And what would have to happen in order for there to be, to make it possible to have a crosswalk on Route 90?
Just
From
put a
MDOTs.
push button blinking light and put it.
That has a speed limit too.
Well, right in front of the high school.
I'm talking about down at Cross.
Oh, cross,
Yeah, because that gives the elementary school direct access.
run like heck.
So, yeah, I'd like to ask that question.
Well, I
of
think
Dakota.
now that Erickson owns Marita's property, I think all kinds of possibilities have opened up. So this is probably an opportune time to talk about that.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll start drafting the email, and when you
Okay.
connect me, Linda, I can, is there somebody I should copy on it, or you, or anybody else from the Pathways Committee?
Yeah, why don't you just copy?
Just copy the Pathways Committee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
many voices.
and I think, Aaron, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a note to Dakota, basically asking the question
Yeah.
that I just described.
Yeah.
And I'll be more input, and it's
Mhm.
consistent with the messages that you're giving to the select board, that we're following up with MDOT on it.
So do you want him to copy the select board as well, or
No,
He's writing to the
he's already did
Sewell,
Sewell.
he's writing to Sewell ceasing
Oh.
Pathways.
Pathways in Orion.
Yeah.
I don't think the select board really cares at this point about, that's minutia.
Yeah,
Orion is where?
Planner in Rockport.
Rockport planner. He's kind of Jeremy.
So write Orion and Sewell.
Yeah. Well, Sewell with a CC to Orion. All right.
And
Are you
then
done yet?
the only other thing from Rockport, I can't remember what's on the agenda, I'm sorry.
Master plan update? Are you presenting it? Are you doing anything?
In June, but we're going to talk about this at our May 13th meeting, as well as maybe making adjustments in order to accommodate grant language to accommodate grant seeking for Route 90. And that's where I got to talk more with Orion. So that master plan that we approved, that this committee approved, may come back with some adjustments for another vote, just,
Okay.
procedurally.
All
And
right.
that's all I got from Rockport, I believe.
and-
Oh,
Andrew wrote to me about the Main Street discussion, but do you feel like we've covered that, Andrew?
Yeah, I just need to find out
In street sidewalk.
a couple
redo.
things, if they will do complete
What they're
streets.
talking about.
That's
Main
I know.
Street by
Yeah, I
And
know.
if,
town office?
once you are doing
Yeah,
complete
that would
streets,
be-
if there are
Oh, that's-
grants out there
that
to
would-
help
that would
pay
be-
for
Thank you.
the projects.
You mean adding the extra bit on top of a normal redo or something?
Yeah, it's gonna add a little bit, they're
It
gonna
will.
say, oh, we don't
Well,
have
it depends on
money.
Your minute taker is not catching any of this discussion. If you could just make
This
it
was
more
just the
clear.
action items coming from the Main Street
I s-
discussion. I
I
was just
see the
checking in
action
with Andrew.
item, but
It was just a follow-up. Andrew was.
What I
doing.
was saying that I need to find, well, first see if Rockport will do complete streets. And then see if there's grant money or DOT money to help, because it costs more to do complete streets, to see if there's money
To implement
available
it.
to implement.
I wonder if
complete
that'll be
streets.
part of the MDOT redo of that would be a good, if they're redoing their complete streets, I wonder if they're gonna put money behind it for implementation.
Yeah.
That would be smart.
This is
Or
about
not just,
Main Street Rockport sidewalk?
No,
This is
so
about-
I'm going to interject for that one, just that Main Street sidewalk redux. That is, and I've forgotten, but that is that short section to the town office from Main Street, from the village. And I can't remember if you guys stripped it out of the budget or if it's going ahead. I'm,
I think we left it in.
so,
If I
so that
recall.
sidewalk is,
Continuation of the sidewalk
I think
That-
we left it.
on the riverside.
bridge, from the bridge to,
no, over by the
Yes.
town office,
Because
just
there's
that little section.
just that little
Right.
section.
little zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Budget committee was not.
But Anita,
much in
the other
favor.
part we're talking about is from Route 1 to Simonton's Corner.
That's the big Main Street, but this redux on the agenda has to
Oh,
do
I
with that
missed that.
short
Thank you.
section.
I
So
didn't,
that's what I was trying to connect with and it wasn't making sense.
Okay, so that section is to be, that's included in the 24, 25 budget before the town,
vote.
for the June 11th
I
warrant.
believe so.
So
That's from the old sidewalk down in Rockport up to the town office.
It's like,
That
it's like,
never got finished as a sidewalk.
no.
So
to-
is it going to be
not to-
incorporated into the master plan that you're presenting in June?
No, that has nothing to do with the master plan.
No, it just has to do with this
Budget.
redo.
It's just, for some reason, that little section
Mike, why
hung
don't you
on.
just-
And remember that little section of Main Street in Rockport from where the sidewalk ended and then
On
to
School,
the town
It's School
office,
Street.
something
think
like
it's
School
School.
Street. But it's not even going to have granite siding. It's
So you're saying it is going to be done this year?
it's in the
I think
budget.
it's in the budget. I think we left it in the
From
budget
Summer Street?
from Summer
Yeah,
Street
summer.
From Summer Street
to the town office.
Yeah.
There's one sidewalk on the
Well, it's a
north
stripe,
side.
it's a stripe thing
But I don't
Striped
think,
sidewalk currently
on the riverside.
on the riverside
Right.
from there.
It originally was supposed to go further, but I think there were some ledge problems and that's why they ran out of money.
oh,
Oh,
There's
All
a
right.
little bit of granite
So
there
anyhow.
now.
No, further into town is where that
Uh,
part costs more.
that's it. That's it for Rockport at this
You think?
point. So you may
Thank you.
dive into Camden.
So the main thing coming up, and I want to make sure we cover this before we run out of time, is that next week on Thursday,
Sidewalk.
Camden will be going for another step in their master plan of presenting it to the public. So that would be in the middle school cafeteria, 5:30 Thursday. I'm going to send around an email asking you folks to post it to your Facebook pages. Maybe somebody will see it there. It's on the town calendar in Camden. It's on the town website, and it's also,
Stripe.
I think it's in the papers. We've had a press release.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's-
posted.
it's-
Yep, we
Yeah, and it's been
posted it.
posted to calendars there, so we're trying to do the outreach. We'll see where it goes. And I'm going to be asking you to put it on your Facebook pages for just more outreach. I was just at, Anita and I were just at the Trails master plan, sort of, for the snowball. It was at
Oh, was
the-
that today?
Yeah,
Forgot about that one.
there were so many people there.
I bet.
Oh, my gosh.
Where was,
It was at the, yeah, it was today at 4.
who was organizing that? NEMPA?
OSI,
It was the
Outdoor Sports Initiative.
consultants who were
It's the consultant
talking
for the
about
town.
what to do at the mountain going forward.
Yeah, Coastal Mountains was there, Side Country was there, the town was there,
NEMPA, New England Mountain Biking Association.
John was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd they do?
Trevor
What'd they
was
s-
there.
What was
So
said?
here's, the reason I want to mention it to you is they did it really well. It was really well. They had,
Good.
they had pieces of paper about this big. Each piece of paper was basically a PowerPoint slide that asked, at first there were 3 or 4 that were introductions. And then they started asking questions and you walked around with stickers and you stuck them next to how you felt. It had several answers. And then they had a stack of sticky notes, and you could write whatever you wanted on the sticky note and put it in the parking lot, or on, if we forgot to mention something, you put it on the slide that you want to put it on. It was brilliant. I'm really inspired to model our session that way.
So this is YouTube by any chance?
What's that?
Did they?
No, it
So
was
you
just,
can- there's no way
people
to
come
go
in
back.
whenever they want, and they can do whatever they want for an hour. You know, and you just sort of mill around if somebody wants to talk to you.
But so there was no
There was no presentation.
presentation.
Mm-mm.
So
Just about mountain bike trails?
It was all about all kinds of stuff,
Did
but
they
I
reach
don't want to
out?
talk about that.
Okay, did
I'm
they,
just talking about the format. I don't want to get into what they were trying to do, but they were public input about what should be working on. Should we be working on having fun? Should we work on having more trails? Should we have what kind of trails? Hiking trails, blah, blah. So similar questions, if I can compose them and then get them printed at the,
I think invite our
I'm going to try to
committees
do
to
it
come
right
up with
away,
questions.
how we could do it in that format.
Yeah, what kind of questions do you want to ask the public? If they come in and wander around and you've got a question here and a question there and a question there, what would that question be?
How would it drive in the
And what
master plan?
this format was put one sticker, one colored dot on your favorite idea. Of course, it's impossible because they're all good ideas. And so that made it more challenging. But they're just trying to see where people are focused.
Put extra stickers on?
Or mistakenly do it like I did it.
You were only supposed to do one?
Yeah, I put multiples.
did they,
I
did they
took one
reach out
sticker
to
and
the-
divided it into 3 pie-shaped sections.
Did they reach out to like the streets and roads to access for bicycles to get to the snowball? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's a
no, they
big
didn't.
issue.
They were only dealing with
No, they were only
the
dealing with the property.
town-owned snowball
Town-owned
property
Format is
only.
what you're interested in. Okay.
Yeah, it was the format. Yeah.
For what? Application, what are you thinking?
The session next Thursday.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
what
Does it-
would, what were the stickies for? Like,
Well, the sticky notes, there's a parking lot. The parking lot meaning for ideas that we aren't asking you about. If there's something you want to talk about, your sidewalk in front of your house, write it down on this sticky and stick it on this board. Because, you know, we're not going to we won't ask necessarily about redoing the sidewalk on Trim Street, where it's not on but maybe it's a topic they want to talk about. That's what the stickies were for.
It sounds similar to the format that Viewshed did with the RES
yes,
Park.
right.
You know, they
Yep.
had certain things. And tell us what you like, what's your highest importance.
Yeah. And then
And
they
they-
also had one, if we don't cover the topic, that's what the stickies, were you meaning the yellow sticky notes versus the dots? The dots were,
Oh.
the dots were the votes, and the yellow sticky notes are for things that we haven't asked you that you really want to give input about.
But then what is,
And I don't know if it's going to work, but I really liked it. Does anybody have any easels? Like lots?
have what?
Easels.
Why don't
Oh,
you
I thought you
ask
said
Bob Gordon?
eagles.
No, it was that group that had them, didn't they?
It is. OSI had them. They had like 20 easels. It's a lot.
Ask,
Eagles.
Easels? That's where they put the pictures on. So people
got
could
one.
Easels,
I thought
not
you were
easels.
saying.
Easels.
Eagles.
Eagles.
Easels.
We're gonna
Yeah.
want the Eagles.
What
around
am I missing?
here.
I like their
if
music.
everybody brings one.
I don't even have one. No,
Jeff,
I
do you
have
think
one.
Dave Morrison of the Opera House would?
Well, I'm gonna ask the
resource
town.
that?
I'm gonna resource it to the town. I will do that right away. You don't have any deep resources, Richard?
No,
The ski team
no.
back behind the generator?
Margot might.
I don't have anything hidden away, sorry.
Margot might. High school.
Library?
Borrow.
Probably not the library, but the high school.
What was the thing I might?
Oh, ho ho,
Go up here.
Hey.
Renee.
Yeah, we all
You're
look back at
sneaky.
Margot. There she is.
No, you don't need to look. I'm just,
Oh, Margot, we're all like, oh, Margot. Now we have to talk to you like this.
No, you don't. Keep going. It was working fine.
All right. No,
Yeah.
I'm playing with an idea and I'll know in the next couple of days whether I can actually frame it this way, but I was impressed with the way the OSI presented I asked for public input on their plan for the Snow Bowl for trails. And one of the key elements is they had like a dozen or 20 easels for putting flip chart sized paper on.
We don't have 20, but we might have
5?
5.
Okay, who's we?
More if you look hard.
Well, it's gathering them from different people. Like I know the office has one. There's one in it I can think of where 3 are. So they must have come from someplace else. If you had 20.
Oh, they all came from OSI. They had them. I asked him where he got them. He said they're
Oh.
mine. They're mine. And I may just go back and ask if I can borrow them from him.
Well, oftentimes when there've been meetings like that, they put those posters up on the wall.
I know. That's the other choice is
So if you get some of that sticky white clay stuff,
no, just blue.
You don't even
tape.
need it. A lot of chart paper is like big giant Post-its.
Yeah, no, I want to print these. I'm going to print them.
Oh,
Yeah. I got the logistics on that too, but does anybody know if there's a lot of wall space in the middle school cafeteria? Or is it all windows?
no, one end is the big giant chart of Penobscot Bay.
Yeah, is it a mosaic or something or?
well, the
No, it's
window,
like an actual chart. It's like the map, but it's blown up a million times.
I can't sticky on there?
I don't think that would be well received.
But the
there's
windows,
a whole other wall opposite the windows.
why not blue tape on the windows?
yeah, there's the window side, which would
And
be
windows.
the windows, and the other side, isn't that the serving area or something? Is that a wall? I thought
There's
that's,
a wall of windows, a wall, and a wall of map. And then
Okay.
an entrance wall.
right, the entrance wall. I thought I thought there was the cafeteria on the opposite the windows.
That might be on part of the solid wall. I've never.
Got to be something there.
But what's
New.
the goal to just
I
have
just
an
need,
open?
as a fallback, I could be using blue tape to stick this stuff on the walls. Or the
I would
windows.
suggest masking tape would blend better, but yeah.
Yeah, but blue tape is got a better
Safer.
reputation.
Safer
It's much
for
safer.
the surface.
Or yellow, okay, or green. Yeah. Actually, I can just stop by and I'll poke my head in.
We have some pink tape that's a delicate surface tape.
Yeah, that's this as paint, good, pink.
And
All right.
it's like
Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send around some ideas to the group this weekend, if not before, on public input. This may not work, but I really was inspired to try to make it work. They got a lot of input and it was good. The next one was the Camden Can invite. Anita, do you want to explain that? I know it's too late because it's tonight. Is that the time limit?
Is that your the dog's barking?
It ended.
What did? The dog thing?
Oh,
Oh. No, I know. The Camden Kent thing was at 5:30 to 7, and it's like 6:30. They were going to do 5-minute presentations from local groups trying to advocate for environmental improvement in regards to climate, and they invited us to present. And we didn't do it because of the conflict. So, yeah, probably. Lenny, where's Lenny? Speaking of food.
Probably making food.
cookies.
Well,
he was supposed to show up with cookies.
exactly.
You said that.
I know. That's why he didn't show up.
Fish cakes.
If I
He felt-
had known that, I would have rounded him up.
No kidding. He is
Hmm.
chocolate chip cookies, man. Anyway, all right. We got it in the minutes, so it's all right. You can't live it down. How does the group feel about any reason to or not to advocate to get to be part of the next potluck that Camden Can is doing?
Camden can,
Camden Can, it's Camden
Climate Action Network.
oh,
Climate Action Network. Yeah, they're doing a good job at trying to develop ground level support, swell support. I just saw a mosquito. All right.
Is the master plan presentation advertised?
3 papers.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. Okay.
Neither have I. Andrew, Elm Street.
Oh,
Wait.
can I say something related to Camden Can
Of course,
and pathways?
of course.
So Molly Mulhern is the action gal behind that, and she sends out the emails and so on. And let's see now, I just want to say how she responded. Am I not going to have that? Oh, she said, let's plan an e-bike and downtown car-free Saturday bike/pedestrian expo in the fall sometime.
E-bike, bike expo?
An e-bike and downtown car-free Saturday bike/pedestrian expo in the fall sometime.
They did that last spring in Rockland. It was a lot of fun. It was a solar e-bike expo. It was
Solar
on the-
E, so it's like solar panels?
Solar panels, and there were a lot of e-bikes there being presented by the bike shops, the local bike shops.
Was it on Main Street?
And Bicycle Coalition of Maine was there. No, it was down on the harbor, right on the waterfront.
On the waterfront, down at
Public
the
Landing.
public landing, okay.
Yeah, what's his name from,
Ian,
from Bicycle Coalition of
BCM,
Maine.
yeah.
He was there, Mr.
Stewart, no,
Yes.
no, something like that.
Anyway, they all had bikes and wasn't a huge turnout, but there were electric cars, and the antique electric car from the Owl's Head Transportation Museum was there. Pretty cool.
Well, Dakota had mentioned that the DOT's got
Yeah,
some e-bikes for,
yep.
but it's always good to host, local businesses
Yeah,
with their own e-bikes.
Oh.
But I
yeah,
would,
Main Sport would be a natural partner.
Oh,
well,
Side Country. They-
Well, but it's Camden. But Side Country would come too, I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Side Country has a place at the Snowball. They work out of the Snowball. So you
Ah,
could do it at the Snowball I know that the landing is what they're talking about.
Snowball sounds better, less traffic congestion.
Yeah,
and
I
more
would feel
likely
if I
to-
were trying.
But she's talking about it downtown.
But she wants it,
e-bike.
it makes sense that you want it downtown.
Downtown
car-free time, right?
visibility.
It can't be car-free. There's 10,000 cars go through a day.
Yeah, that, you can't do that, but we could do the landing. You could do the landing and close off the landing.
We'd have to pay for all those parking spots.
I don't think
But
so.
to the
Could you
town,
do it at the middle school?
it's a nice idea,
I would do it at the Snowball.
just for access. It's safe for people on bikes, families on bikes.
Too far out of
It's not
town.
going down through town.
You want them to do town. You want them to have to deal with that. Fear and panic.
Oh, so you leave the streets open, you do that, okay, pedestrians walking, okay. Bumper cars.
No, I like the idea a lot. I don't know how you close Route 1 in the fall or
Probably
anytime.
couldn't do Route 1, but you could do.
Couldn't.
like,
But I think the
Street,
public landing would be totally
all of
doable,
that.
or even Bayview a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
Only believe they put in that bypass back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the public landing would be cool because you draw from
Right.
general, it'd be like Schooner Days or Windjammer.
Probably
Windjammer?
wanted it
Windjammer.
up along Spring
Windjammer.
Yeah,
Street.
Windjammer.
Windjammer weekend.
Yeah.
That's
Cut
closing
back
it off.
down to Route 1,
Oh.
cut through that.
I mean, maybe there's a way on Main Street by
Tunnel.
making the travel lanes the only part that's used and close off the parking.
I think the
Something to
downtown
talk
businesses
about
might
with
have,
Molly, definitely. I think it's a great idea.
yeah. Anybody want to lead this up?
Leave one up.
The effort to explore it, find out what the issues are, what is
I have an
possible.
ally, so yeah, I'll do that.
With Molly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Les Brown's is on that committee.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's what she is
To
tonight.
do it downtown would be good practice for when they have to repair.
And so Andrew's doing that, Anita.
What's that?
Exactly, yeah.
At some point, they're going to have to rebuild the bridge over here. And I've been wondering since I came to this town, where exactly the cars are going to go.
Oh, Route 1 and Smiling Cow, yeah.
It's going to
Well,
be fun.
Talked
They're
about
back streets.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It's challenging.
I know.
Overpass.
Over the whole town.
No, ferry, actually, drive up Bayview, get on a ferry to Lincoln.
Ferry, go around, across.
On to Lincoln.
Yeah, over
Cross
the
Harbor.
Steamboat Landing,
Yeah.
which is a complete and utter mess.
I know.
Well, it could be like,
It
Little scuffed up.
if the lobster crate race can be done where you can, if you go fast enough,
You
they
drive
don't
fast.
sink, so you do that for cars.
Put a little foam in them to help.
All right, lots of good ideas. Don't take those, Andrew. All right. On to Elm Street. Back to you, Andrew.
Okay, so you put me on the agenda, but I wasn't sure why, so.
I don't know,
What I
because
did was, I kept working on what I'd been working on, which is the intersection, the famous intersection. I'm no DOT engineer, but to me, it looks quite simple. And I don't know if anyone can see these drawings, but this is a drawing of it as it is presently.
great. Let's see what, Renee, can you show that to,
Here,
where do we have to hold
It's
it?
just the present situation.
Where should we hold it? No, that's not the
camera
right
there.
way.
camera's up there.
Where's the camera?
Where do you want it? I think it's there, isn't
You're
it?
zooming.
Right there?
Oh, she started zooming.
Wait, she's
No,
trying
no,
to focus
keep
in on
facing
you.
forward.
Wait, go,
Keep changing.
Forward.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
keep moving it around.
Hold it still.
She's
Hold it
zooming.
steady.
Stop. What are you doing?
See, the
Focusing in
camera's
on.
right up there.
So hold it steady.
Camera's
All right,
over the
she'll
front
get
door.
there. She's working on
She's
it.
getting it there. Keep,
Almost
she's
there.
almost there. There it is. Keep going. Don't move, Linda.
Almost.
It's coming. Keep going, Linda.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
drop your arms.
Okay,
That's as it
very
is
good.
today.
Nice job.
Oh, that's as it is today. All
Everybody
right.
knows that.
Everybody knows how it is today. Oh my gosh, Andrew, you drew these?
I don't know what year it was, they put the stop sign in and did the turning lane, but,
Move the mic a little closer. Can you hear Margot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
okay, so, I mean, we've been working on with this off and on. These are just kind of my ideas. I've stood here many times watching traffic. And to me, it's quite simple. You keep the stop sign because it regulates the traffic coming into town from the south. Remove that northbound right turn lane onto Union Street towards Richard's house. Because nobody uses that much except for maybe Richard. But he probably
Lots of
turns
people on Chestnut Street.
on Chestnut, but they can take,
They love Belmont
okay.
at high rates of speed.
There is a right turn further up Park Street.
Mhm.
So local traffic could switch to that.
Andrew, were you suggesting remove the right turn lane entirely?
Entirely.
Well, no. And here's my other drawing.
What you said remove it.
You did say
Remove.
that.
90% of it, because it starts 240 feet, 270 feet up from the stop sign. It's quite a ways. And I stood there for like an hour watching, and you see very few cars coming down that, getting into that right turn lane. It's so seldom used, even in the summer when it's busy.
So shorten it.
Right. Shorten it to about 2 car lengths, the last two. So you can still be there.
It was about 30 feet?
40, I'm calling it 40 feet.
Okay.
2 car lengths parked. So not highway speed car length.
Yeah, no, got it.
And then add 1 new crosswalk at Union Street. And lots of flashing crosswalk signs that are interconnected so that when someone wants to cross the street, push a button and these lights start flashing. So.
You want to show the
drawing.
picture? Here it goes. Hold it back where it was.
You have 2 crosswalks.
Linda, that's you.
All right.
You have 2 crosswalks there.
So with this is Free
Renee,
Street.
back to you, kid.
This is what?
Free Street.
Free Street, okay.
This is
Wait a minute,
Fun.
wait a second. Wait for these guys to see what's going on. All right, go.
this is Route 1.
Yeah,
What we would do. is we would-
northbound. Yeah.
This is northbound this way. Reclaim, get rid of that right turn lane. And continue the shoulder, which is quite wide above the right turn lane, northbound. So you have a shoulder going all the way down. And that would give you plenty of room for a sidewalk and a shoulder. So the shoulder, I'm calling it, not a shoulder, it's a bike lane. That's what I believe in.
Let's
And
call
then
it.
you would walk around the stop and go, and then a new crosswalk right there. There's one existing one up there.
Did you do a measurement on that?
I did. This is very rough. It's not DOT approved yet. And one of the major problems will still be the utility poles, which I believe Dave St. Laurent is working on.
Yeah, they're hard.
There's 2, sometimes they're doubled up
Yeah,
because they never took the old ones out. And
They installed some new poles, but getting rid of the old ones seems to be an
Yeah.
impossible situation because there are so many different companies involved. They can't even figure out how to get a hold of them, I think.
yeah, so there's plenty of room for it all.
is that other crosswalk further south, is that Rennie's? That's really far up.
This one here?
Yeah,
No, it's at the
to get
law
around the
office.
steps,
It's
the
right at that.
steps.
That's just below the steps.
So as an alternative to the steps.
Well, I think the intention was that people coming down, heading north on the northbound side, could cross there to get over to a better sidewalk on the other side. Because what I forgot to mention was this sidewalk in the original, the way it is today, it's 16 inches wide right here.
Yeah,
And as shown in the video, which
yeah.
it's 16 inches wide. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
cannot
proof of that.
safely walk on it, and they can't plow it, and et cetera.
So
'Cause this is-
why the crosswalk?
Which one?
You added a crosswalk.
So that
By
people
law,
walking
this is-
down,
Decent sidewalk.
walking down the east side of
It's a
Route
Gary's
1,
Valley
heading north,
solution.
will have a place to cross safely. Cross Union Street very safely. There we go. Right there. And I believe the town could do all of it, because it's just,
So you're
Painting.
saying you're
Yeah,
gonna
save
keep
money.
the stop sign and have a traffic light?
No traffic light.
traffic
No
lights.
Just exactly the same controls, but no right turn. That's it.
because this was set up in the 60s, I believe. It's always been an issue in this town. That stop sign was famous for being the only stop sign on Route 1.
No, I don't know if I want to walk across that crosswalk.
So, well, that's what,
I
yeah.
don't think DOT will let you put it in, but maybe.
Yeah, I think there's a reason.
It has to be a
sidewalk is
certain
way down
distance
now.
back.
Well, like I
People
said,
walk there anyways.
people cross all the
They
time
cross
there.
it.
Oh, yeah, they
The
cross.
line of sight is fantastic. You can see everywhere,
Yeah, you can, you're right. Anyone making a right-hand turn
or left turn or anything,
coming
you can
south.
see. That's why people cross there.
And so that's why I believe big flashing lights here. I mean, they're everywhere now, these flashing lights.
Hmm.
But they would have to be wirelessly or wired together, so
For solar.
push a button, and not only does that one flash, but that one over there flashes for traffic coming in all directions.
The
That's
ones
what you're
up at
saying.
Quarry Hill, you know, they're interconnected somehow, and
Oh, they are?
I don't, Well, when you push the button on one side, the light comes on the other side of the road,
Oh, okay.
both sides of the road.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
they should,
Wireless or
yeah.
wired?
Must,
They gotta be wireless.
Are
They
there
did
solar
not-
panels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's the second crosswalk you've got a little further up towards,
Denny's,
that existing, you said?
That's
Elm Street, that's the
existing.
existing one. Is
This
that what
one
you-
up here,
Existing one
That's existing.
That
That's an
no one,
existing
that no
one.
one uses.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too far away.
and this one is existing,
so
just below the
shouldn't-
tree.
Shouldn't the crosswalk you have near the tree in Boulder, closer to the intersection, be far enough so that one car that just turned right and didn't see the crosswalk has a space to sit and wait?
Hmm.
Someone, they come in, they turn, and then, oh, yikes, someone has that flashing light. You
There's
don't
someone-
really see it when you're coming
Right.
down.
That's why there would be a flashing light saying pedestrians in crosswalk right here.
Or do they just put the crosswalk directly at the, so
I
it's
think it's
straight
too far.
Too wide.
Is
It's
it too wide?
really
40,
far.
it's
Wide.
39 feet from curb to curb,
beyond there?
and that's pretty wide. Couldn't put you might be able to put a bump out here because it's a parking spot.
Mm.
So that would shorten it to about
Mm.
35 feet.
I don't know how wide the one, there's a couple of them in Rockport that are very wide, but they don't like them.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a
The
good
bump
point.
outs, the town doesn't like them. They're hard to plow,
Yeah,
but I think
What is
With
the
it-
width of the street there again?
39 feet to 40 feet, roughly.
Did you actually measure this or is this pacing?
Paste it.
I pasted out, but I pasted 3 different times, and they're all within,
3 different pair of shoes, right?
yeah, they're all within a pace.
So,
So, it's like I said, it's rough, it's not DOT approved yet.
is that, it looks like it's sort of at the corner of the building of the stop and go, would that be? if I
It
wanted to go
is,
up
yeah,
there,
and that's the only room for it. And this little round circle here is Gary's Island
With the sign.
with his gas price sign in it.
Yeah.
oh,
And, you know, I
Yeah.
think he might get upset to get rid of it, but it's also not a bad thing to have because it,
Yeah,
It'll keep-
no, it forces you to go around it.
yeah, you won't
Yeah.
drive over it. And so they might drive over a pedestrian, but that's where you can put lots of signs.
I thought they ought to make
Now, the
that
stop
bigger.
sign out in the middle, that needs to be spring loaded so you can drive over it and it pops back up. And the problem, the basic problem there is tractor trailers going to both Rankins and Hammond.
Well, that's why I suggested keeping a little bit of this right turn lane. Because I was there today and there was a Viking truck turning right. And he stopped right at the stop line. And
Which
there
lane
plenty
was
of-
he in?
In the right-hand turn lane.
He shouldn't be in the right turn lane. He should be in the middle. So he cuts all the way across.
Why?
But the tractor trailers,
They need that.
they want to almost be in the southbound lane.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
They shouldn't
yeah.
be in the right lane
But
anyway.
I think there's plenty of room to do that because that intersection's so wide.
I'm surprised he did that. Anyway,
Who did?
that tractor trailer.
Oh.
Richard, are you saying that oftentimes you're going home and that stop sign is broken off?
Yes,
Okay.
it got broken sometime this winter and
It's not there?
Oh, no.
There are temporary ones there.
I didn't even notice.
You don't even notice, right?
I just stopped.
So-
And, you know, and Dave can't do a thing. It's a
No.
state road. Only DOT can touch it.
They probably
And they
can't.
had surveyors in there. I
Let
don't
me-
know what the hell.
Let me formalize this a little bit more. Does anybody have any, this is great work, Andrew. Does anybody have more input directly? Tom, you're pondering. What do you got?
No, I just need to go up there and see how that's gonna work. It's such a difficult intersection.
It is.
The other thought was, and I didn't put in here, was maybe perhaps a speed bump. A speed bump
They don't
crosswalk,
like speed bumps.
Why not,
but the
Jeff?
real wide
Plows.
ones.
On
the
Union
plow-
Street, why
oh.
not?
The wide ones that are kind of smooth because it's so low speed. Everyone,
Everybody's crawling. I'm thinking of
it's
the,
not
of the
like
plow,
zipping down
the plow making the
Main Street in
corner.
Rockland. in
Plow
front of
making the corner.
in front of the ferry terminals. They put those great big speed bumps in. They took them all out because they were too rugged. They were, but this is very slow traffic.
Well, maybe something like this high.
Yeah, but it may be
But
8,
like-
10 feet wide.
Right.
You
Just a-
should see some of the people that come down northbound on Route 1 that just barely hit the brakes at the stop
To
sign.
make a left? Or no,
Just to go straight
northbound,
ahead.
northbound.
They're
Go
northbound, they're bound and determined to be in Lincolnville in 10 minutes.
So put a speed bump there, is that what you're saying?
Maybe they tried to get to the Islesboro Ferry, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what do you think of my suggestion of leaving room for one car to go round from northbound Route 1? You're turning
We'd have to
onto
measure that.
Union Street, and oops, there's a crosswalk, room to stop there.
But what,
It doesn't matter whether you're around the corner or not, you know.
It's a good sight line there. There's no trees or bushes or anything in the way.
are you
So
thinking of safety for
anyone-
the pedestrians or to get the car out of the way of
I
people?
just was concerned that a car might not see that there's a crosswalk or a flashing signal until
Right.
they actually get on the road.
I'll know it's there, and I'm the only one that turned right there, according to Jeff.
I didn't say that. Andrew said that.
I can interpret things.
It gets so few cars turn right there. I mean,
See, you keep
probably
saying that.
1 in 40. Seriously, I haven't done an actual count, but
I know somebody who has,
say that.
MDOT has,
Yeah, well, they did the presentation with the town.
and it had all the
Yes.
data. It had all the
They have
data.
all the
They
data,
did
yep.
no maps.
No, but they counted.
They did.
They counted.
Okay,
They
well,
did.
good. There was also
We're at
talk
3
of,
o'clock on Sunday morning, counting.
I don't know.
but there was also talk of some electronic, I don't know, traffic-driven stoplights.
That's
But
right.
That just seems too complicated because it would allow traffic through to back up all the way to that intersection.
All right, you'd have a lot, you'd have cars parked in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah, just stalled right there. And that's why this works.
It's 7:30 and I want to
That's
make
why
this
they did it this
constructive.
way.
Richard, do you have any constructive feedback for this guy,
No,
other
you-
than
You don't know.
just editorial? I mean, and let me tell you where I'm driving this a little bit. If we could move towards something like this or a modification of this, where the Pathways Committee says, we've talked about this, we've worked on it, blah, 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 and this is our suggestion.
I think it's a very good idea for the Pathways Committee to come in with a
I think it's great.
real suggestion.
So what I'm driving towards is, do you have any constructive, Tom? And this is not a done deal now. Tom's going to go look at it some more, and I appreciate that. When you come back next month, get your input.
I would like
you
to
can think
find
about
out
it.
and know where the edge of the road really is, the right of way.
Oh, you can see it.
What do you
You
mean?
can see it because the sidewalk is this wide.
No,
No,
that
in where?
doesn't
Yeah.
mean
No,
anything.
that doesn't mean anything.
Well,
No,
Just,
but,
you know,
Property
it's
lines,
the old,
right.
just because you mow it doesn't mean you own it.
but further up,
But,
it continues all the way up towards Rennie's.
Richard, there is I think there are MDOT
Yeah.
plans that show where the roadway is in relationship to the right of way
Yeah.
there.
and I
I'm
think that
99% sure.
MDOT website, somebody told me that.
No, I have it right here.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think I have it because when they were doing the presentation, MDOT was doing the presentation.
Yeah, they
They had it because they said, this is why the roundabout doesn't have room. And they showed it overlaid.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was more, that had an awful lot to do with Village Variety and the church.
Of course, but that drawing showed the roads
Okay.
and the right of ways.
okay.
I'm just saying the information is there. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I agree. The information exists and
So if you're looking for that and that, you're looking for that why? As
I
it
just
bears
want to
on
know where it is. You know,
whether we're going to run into right of way issues.
and I know, yeah.
Right. Think about it.
Taking somebody's front lawn by eminent domain is not a popular item.
No,
But you
But-
wouldn't touch a front lawn in this.
but we don't know for
There isn't
sure.
a front
Because
lawn there, and
There's,
the red house is a particular problem.
yeah,
there's a
but
whole
you would
bunch.
be going away from the red house because you're
Towards the-
creating an extra,
It wouldn't be
9
encroaching.
feet.
It wouldn't be encroaching anymore.
right, you could actually move it away from the red house, which is right here, the red house.
Yeah.
No, red house right here. But yeah,
And then there's the White House, but Gary owns that.
Yeah.
Yeah. the
Keep
thing
thinking
ought to
on
be
that.
bulldozed.
Anita, do you have any
I'd
specific
like,
feedback?
so is there actually some room for consideration of a rotary, and what is and a rotary, in my point of view, is not really one of the big circles, but rather a button.
MDOT on their roads have a minimum diameter. It's 80 feet.
So they.
And there's
so
rotaries and
that's hard and
roundabouts.
fast,
You
and they will
gotta
not.
be careful of the terminology.
They will
because
not
they're different.
consider a button with a sloped edge so that the big old trucks can actually bump over the button. You see that?
I think that would be something that would have to happen at the legislature or something. I don't know how MDOT guidance is.
Maine in a lot of places.
yeah. you
Oh,
can
yeah,
see
I
where
know what you're talking about. And
there's no room.
that's basically the concept that they have sort of vaguely tried to promote, but they realized that they'd have to probably have trucks driving into the corner of the church in order to do it.
Well, for one, there's not enough room, and
Well-
two, there's no traffic regulation, so everyone coming down would just jam up the whole intersection. That rotary would be just solid in the summertime.
Plus it'd be impossible to get across as a pedestrian.
Exactly.
So
Well, yeah,
how,
you're right.
I mean, this
Hang
is.
on, hang on. So the response, Anita, and then Linda, I'll get to you. The response to Anita is what Andrew sees is that he said the stop sign regulates the flow into the downtown area. And I believe Richard and Andrew just responded to you by saying if the rotary was there, people would just drive right across it and just be solid, which would screw up the rotary. Unless it would fill.
The rotary would be different than a traffic signal in
Except-
terms of its complication.
Except for the middle of January at 3 a.m. But in the middle of summer, when traffic's backed up to Rennie's, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
It would be hard, people be making the mistake all the time of filling the intersection, I think. But maybe not, maybe not, I don't know.
I think the rotary would, or roundabout, whatever the. proper
Roundabout,
term
yeah.
is, would be better than the traffic light. Because the right of way, I don't know if right of ways rules in the road are written down anywhere, but the way people behave is the guy on the right has the right of way, except in a rotary. The vehicle in the circle
Is the right of way.
has the right of way over a person entering the circle.
That's right,
Always.
always.
Because otherwise it would be a
It doesn't work.
complete.
In other countries, they understand this.
But usually after a rotary, there's a drainage. All the cars can just take off and speed up, go to the next one. But in this rotary,
Oh,
you would
we
get to
slowed down.
Prince's or what used to be the furniture store there.
Yes.
And
And
you
there'd be
crosswalk at the
would
Montessori
be
school.
stuck right there because the traffic's backed up.
And there's also a crosswalk right there too.
Traffic is backed up from downtown, but from the Camden National Bank.
Think about it some more. And actually, I can see, like the select board meetings where they've talked about this, this discussion can go for a long time. So
Right.
what I'd like, if you can, Andrew, please photograph these two
Yeah.
and send it around to the committee, particularly Camden. Rockport, you're welcome to, but Camden's committee to consider, and we'll work on it some more in our work group meeting, our next work group meeting, okay?
Okay.
And that way we can be thinking about your suggestion.
I also emailed Dave St. Laurent several months ago, asking if he's willing to talk about this. He said, sure.
Yeah. Well, let's sharpen it so that you have more voices
Yeah.
behind you too.
Can I ask one quick question though? Is,
Aren't you from Rockport?
yeah, but
He asked
this
permission. He
impacts
could talk.
Rockport.
I haven't said yes.
Bill, then you can talk.
I had been under the impression that because of that very intersection, a lot of the commercial trucks don't even go through there. They come down Pascal Avenue and then Union Street, so they get around there.
Oh, yeah.
Would this solution have anything to do?
I always used to do that.
Okay.
I would take Curtis Ave or Park Street and then come down Union, and you can bypass.
No, but
traffic.
No, I mean
He's
for
talking
the commercial
Pascal.
trucks,
The commercial
Oh,
cups
like
coming
commercial
up on
trucks
Route
headed
1,
north, up Route 1,
they go on
they go down
Pascal.
Pascal Avenue and then up Union Street, so
Yeah.
they don't have to wait at that intersection.
I know I've seen the Rankins, Viking and Hammond.
Hammond, yeah, yeah,
They for sure do that.
yeah.
Well, both,
But, oh,
both
yeah,
businesses are right there on Union Street anyway.
Yeah.
How often do you see the?
I've seen it, but I've just heard around town, people have always brought that up.
So they go across the bridge through the village,
Come on,
Union.
yeah,
To avoid that.
specifically to avoid the tie-up at that intersection.
Oh, it's the tie-up.
It's
It's a strategy. It's another
Richard,
strategy.
It's a parking, it's a traffic
How often?
backed up to
Yeah,
Rennie's
they don't wanna-
and beyond.
Right. How
All right,
often
so
do you
wait,
take Curtis Ave?
wait, time out. I'm gonna stop it. Thank you.
You're welcome. One more application, consideration.
No, so we'll pick this up again
Okay.
at our, and
This
we'll
is
come back to the joint meeting with something for us to talk about as a.
So that is not until, our input won't be until the joint meeting?
Our input will be at the Camden meeting
The
next month,
next
the
month.
work group meeting. And we'll
Right.
work on this some more, tighten it up as a group and come back and present to the group
At the joint meeting?
at the joint meeting, right? So two stage. And prior to that, Andrew's going to email a picture about this or however you want it. Email would be good. Pretty big would be good. All right, that's all I've got. Any last minute objections to adjourning?
You have a river walk on there.
I'm not going to continue on.
That could take another half
Okay,
an hour.
I think you might want to talk about when the next
Did that,
Meeting?
Camden meeting will
did
be?
that, Thursday. Actually,
And
I
then
don't
you-
have to have everybody here for doing that. I'll send around an email about it.
About next
Will
month?
you won't be chairing it?
I'll be sending it around. I'll send it around an email.
You're talking about next month?
Yeah, we won't be here. Anita and I won't be here, so that's kind of bad. But we have to figure out where we are. Maybe we could join.
So
Nah, there's
but
no way.
our next joint meeting is in July.
Is it, did you check?
No, that's what you said at the beginning of this meeting.
No, I was going from memory. That's a bad
Well, I
thing.
think
Oh.
that we can determine
May,
what it
June,
is.
July, yeah, 3 months, yeah.
What's that?
That'll be 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, the next quarterly meeting. And you want to make it Thursday, but if you
It would
just.
be
wanna-
the 18th.
The 18th, okay. So I will talk with
Yes,
Ryan to
please
see
do.
if we're going to be, and let's firm up if we're going to make that a session about complete streets. You know,
Yes.
a public session.
I've got that. I've got it in my notes about that. You'll be hearing from me. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to BCM and to Dakota, see who wants to do it more. You missed that, Margot, but the next joint session would be sort of a public information session on complete streets, part of developing the groundswell.
Is that an official statement? It will be a public session, is that what you're saying?
Well, we're hoping. it's not-
We'll invite people. Yeah, we still have to get the venue. We still have to. Yeah. No, we can do it. We can do it. But, yeah. All right.
There is this one space in the high school called the Commons, which could be a good space for that.
I think,
Next one?
Mike was suggesting the basement of the library, which is one of the conference rooms for the town now. So that seems really good. The basement?
Well, not really. It's
First
the
floor.
ground level.
Yeah, ground floor. I
Yep.
haven't been.
But that high school Commons is a really good dialogue space. I mean, it's good for presentations, but also good for, if it's an opportunity to engage people. As opposed to people sitting and presenting.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I suspect, not positive, but I suspect that BCM or MDOT will want to zoom in to do their presentation. So we'll need to have that option.
Yeah, we've got double screens and I mean, it's a good space.
Ah,
And it's designed for community problem solving.
I think the clincher is that Rockport wants us to meet in Rockport
Well, that's
at a
where
town.
high school's in Rockport.
I know, but it has to be a town facility.
Oh.
Is she talking about,
Whatever.
Yeah, it's the next joint meeting.
did she talk about the high school commons?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm going to keep that in mind, Margot. Future. Yeah, it's good. All right. Thank you, everybody. Any objections? Adjourned? Thank you, Renee.
Yeah.
See ya, thank you all.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. Oh, Aaron, are you still there?
Yeah,
Downstairs?
Or is he gone?
I'm about to leave. What's
he's
up?
about to leave.
Okay, I just shared with you on
Are
Google,
they still meeting?
like you could, it's
Yeah,
way too
last
big,
week
that
there.
file. Where?
I just heard.
Oh, the file, yeah.
It's way too big, so I shared it with you on Google, but if you can't access it,
So I don't
let me
know if we're
know and
meeting.
we'll figure out a different way, okay?
Okay, I'll let you know. Thanks.
Successfully.
Okay, see ya.
Library
Bye.
space.
Downstairs.
Okay, good meeting, thank you. This is really good.